Hello. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my long process of taking those auditions back in the spring. So my very first one when I went to South Dakota, Sioux Falls, that was my first audition I've taken since 2019. I haven't professionally really done anything like that in a while, so even just getting back into it was quite something. Both auditions were totally loaded with people, and I wasn't expecting that. Sioux Falls had been open, I think, just the year previous, or maybe 2 years ago. And 1 or 3 people showed up for that audition. But when I showed up for this audition, I can guarantee there were 15. I have no idea how many people there were, but there was at least 15 people that showed up for this audition. It really wasn't a big audition. It was a really, I would describe as a low-paying audition, but still something that was like right on the cusp of like worth me traveling up there had I won the audition for like the 4 concerts or something like that they'd have per year. It just, like I said, it wasn't anything too huge, and it wasn't really anything, it wasn't a huge bummer for me when I wasn't selected to move on. I would have loved to at least made it to finals, but, for whatever reason, I didn't make that. And so, anytime I get told no, that leaves me room for improvement. And so I, like usual, kind of kicked around for a couple of days figuring out, why did I not advance to the next level? I mean, I play with some really, really great players around here, and I feel like I should be standing out better than that. And B, just trying to kind of get back into what it means to be a orchestral musician that's taking orchestral, auditions. And so I had this suspicion that the way that I play in tune, and by the way, I play in tune very, very well when I sit in a section, for Omaha Symphony or whatever. I do blend very, very well. That's one of the top comments that I get is how well balanced and how well in tune the section is when I'm playing with them. So I know that what I'm doing is good. But I feel like when I'm playing by myself, the way that I hear the chords and how everything works, it just wasn't lending to the typical ear what they were expecting to hear. Most musicians that are sitting in on those committees, they know these pieces, and a lot of these pieces are pretty standard, but they might not be thinking about the chord structure and everything that I'm going to know, because I'm going to know every part about that piece, right? And so really what I'm getting at here is when you have a chord of any kind, some notes end up being high or low compared to where they should be in tune. So like here is just a nice little F here. I usually practice really heavily with drones, which that's what this would be. I know I've done some videos on this before. You want to be able to get in tune. I actually need to turn this up a little bit, I think. Okay. Hopefully you can still hear me, but here's the F. So I'm trying to get that to be in as much agreement as possible. No waves, no beats, no technical jargon. They're just really, really pure tone to pure tone, having that really, really great. Now, as I move across a scale or across a chord, some of these notes actually are going to tend to be sharp, where I'll have to pull in or push out, compared to what, again, this drone, this bass line, a chord is for us. So again, here's that F. And I'm playing a C here, and the C is going to be what we describe as the fifth. The fifth is tending to be a little bit sharp. So I'm going to do my best to kind of hold out that pitch and then actually play that C. And you'll hear a difference between the two of them, because my piano, it just plays a C where it's supposed to be. It doesn't, relatively push things up or down when we're trying to tune chords. So again, sorry about that. probably really weird looking, but hopefully this comes out across that they weren't really in great agreement there. The C that I was holding, to the best of my ability, should have ended up being just a little bit sharp, and that regular C would have been a little bit lower. I can do that more extensively maybe with the middle note here. Your thirds. Thirds are notoriously really, really low when you're trying to tune them in a chord. Right? So that's what we're trying to get there. So hopefully I could definitely hear it there. There's some definite disagreement there. So again, as I'm playing these chords, as I'm playing these excerpts, I'm trying to play these how they would be in tune with the entire ensemble. So I started getting this suspicion that maybe that's not what they're looking for, at least not as much as what I'm doing. Maybe I'm doing it too much. And so I recently learned how to use my piano in a different facet. I don't know if I would describe it better, worse, anything like that. But there's this thing called MIDI. So what I did is I wrote out every single excerpt for the Des Moines audition. I wrote every single one of them out. It took me a little bit over a day or two to just write them out into my program. And then I had to transfer them onto here and figure out how to make it sound just a little bit better, how it works for me, and getting them, just laying them down in tune. And there's some really cool things about this feature that I really wish I had done years ago. I practice with a metronome, I practice with the drones, I practice with all sorts of stuff, but having a MIDI file was really interesting because it spits out the song for me exactly verbatim every single time. And I've done this many times. I've gone in and I've recorded the song, to the best of my ability. Sometimes I'm just playing those notes, but notes to note to get them in tune, like what I'm talking about. And I've done them with the chords, and I've done all sorts of stuff. But as a player who's just kind of like, oh, this morning I have just enough time to kind of fiddle with the piano, record it, and then practice along with it, it's never really been tight. It's just been done. And, it still really helps me, but having that MIDI file, it is exactly this with that exact amount of time, and I can practice it. It even has it down to the measures. So sometimes when I'm working through something, it's hard for me to find where it's at, just how my piano's recording. I have to go back by the seconds compared to, in measure 3, I was really struggling with that passage. So I can go right to what I want to work on and all that sort of stuff. So I found it to be really, really beneficial, and I definitely see myself using MIDI file practicing a lot more in my life. In fact, I'm using a MIDI file practice thing for my scales every single day. So it just kind of goes like this. I don't know how well it's going to go, because usually when I do this setup, it's harder for me to hear the piano. I usually have a speaker to go along with me, or I just turn it up, but that really affects the balance here. So I will go ahead and try and play that for you. Just I'll kind of pause it on and off and kind of speed up through the process as best I can for you. But here is, this is an F major scale, and it goes 3 octaves, which is excessively high on trombone, but not unseen. So worth practicing. Here I go, and I'll kind of mess with it as we go. Nice little introduction there. So I'm listening for a couple of things here. I want to get really, really good intonation. I want to get good time, tongue clarity, getting that good. So tone, time, and tongue are really, really important, just kind of laying that down. And with this, it's laying down note by note, and it's really easy for me to be like, wow, I wasn't as clean as, a computer. And I know that kind of sounds odd, but it's like I'm literally playing with somebody that's a little bit better than me, maybe not more musical than me, but straight up, like, just laying it down, never making a mistake, really, with your tone, your time, or your articulation. And it's really cool, because it's like, oh, there's the bar, right? And am I hitting it or am I not? And on top of that, I can mess with this rhythm. I can mess with the tempo as much as I want. I can really slow it down if I have a really difficult passage that I'm not really happy with, or I can start boosting it. And now I'm in competition with something else. Like who's going to play it better? Who's going to play it more right? Whatever. The computer's always going to play it so well and so right. And am I at least playing as well as that? Or, when I go on to like a musical excerpt, am I standing out a little bit more than that, at least to my ability? So it's kind of been fun, because that's, sometimes as much as I get to do when I intermittently play with other people, finding that little carrot in front of you can always be difficult. So this has been a fun process for me. So here it is. Now I'm boosting up the tempo. I usually go about 15 clicks higher each time that I want to boost it up, which is kind of significant. But here the scale is going to go from major to now minor. It'll go through those modes. And we'll also even have arpeggios. And I'll try and just keep boosting the tempo as best I can here. So I have to catch it because it's kind of in the middle of the program. But here we go. So I usually don't mess with it this much early on, but I'm just trying to get the demonstration through this pretty quickly. I'll do this last one here, and then it'll just go straight into the arpeggios, and I'll try and stick with that. Yeah. So that last one there really wasn't my best take, probably again because I couldn't hear it. I was slipping a little bit in terms of time, which is not a bad thing. It can kind of show me where my relative time is to where I think it is, and if it's slipping, then what, right? But typically I do that a little bit better, and that's fine. But now you can kind of see how that works for me, and I can easily go into any one of these excerpts, maybe Bolero. One of my favorite things about Bolero is that I can start throwing in notes, first of all, that keep this time really, really steady, because Bolero has a snare drum that kind of goes along with it. And I have tried to basically repeat that in a couple of ways on my computer, but I have to go whatever it is, and I have to do that for about a minute and have it be perfect, again, the best of my ability, and that's not really something that I'm going to do perfectly, especially just on a one-off. So putting it into a MIDI file suddenly makes it perfect, and then I can add the extra chords in and make that all great, and then I can just play through this excerpt. Now, I have not played this excerpt since Des Moines, but I will try and give this a go, and I hope I hear it well enough. So we'll just give it a go, see how it goes, and it really keeps me, in a good place. So again, as you can see, first of all, I haven't played that excerpt in over a month. It was mid-May, maybe, when I took that audition. And I'm still in a really good place with that excerpt. I've been playing my whole life, but still, to be able to just pick it up and play along with something is really nice. There are also sometimes, you know, with the MIDI file, if there's an accent in there, sometimes it overdoes it. But it really says to me, oh, hey, there was an accent there. Did you make it sound like there was an accent, right? So it's just, you know, this piano is just always like, hey, come on, you know, this is where you need to be, and this is where I should be at. So it was really, really nice to work with these excerpts. I mean, in some respects, it's like I'm working with a professional that's just playing right along with me. You know, it's not perfect, but it sure is something, and I really benefit from it. So I'm hoping to make a couple of side-by-side videos of the few excerpts that interlap between Sioux Falls and then also Des Moines, and you can see the difference in just my playing. From just having taken an audition, I always get better. I always say that, but I mean, sometimes it's really nice to be able to just show you, like, no, I'm very serious. It's a visible aural difference that you can hear in my playing from one to the next. And so, you know, that's always the pro. I'm always getting better, and every time I get told no, you know, it's up to me to say, well, what, you know, throw in the towel or figure it out. And every single time I just keep trucking along and I get better. And that's the cool thing. I haven't hit that ceiling where it's like, well, this is me and this is what I am, you know. I'm always improving, and that's such a cool thing. I wish I had, you know, that something that's like, oh yeah, well, I improved so much, so therefore I play with these groups, and I have that, you know, that little title that goes along with all that success. But, you know, it hasn't happened yet. It will at some point in whatever way. I really, you know, would say it's already happened. It's just not your standard, you know, oh, I do these certain things. So, yeah, that is practicing with a MIDI file, and that was something that really changed at least my, you know, audition practice. I expect to be employing it on a lot of the other stuff that I use. I wrote out a whole bunch of Bach cello suites to just have something different to kind of work on as well. And that's been kind of fun too, you know, having all sorts of wide-ranging articulations and speeds, and just something that's not written for trombone and making it try to sound as effortless as that has been nice. So I really see this being a really beneficial thing for me, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that pays off for me in the long run as I continue to use it. So thanks for watching.